What is up, guys? Mastick over here. Today I'm going to show you how to change a wheel bearing on this 2006 Acura TSX. Let's get straight to it. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and lift up our car from the middle where the subframe is. And second, we're gonna go ahead and place our jack stand right there. And now that we got the car off the ground, we're gonna go ahead and start removing these lug nuts. And the size of these lug nuts are 19 millimeter. And now that we're here, I went ahead and I spun the wheel all the way to the left so I can get easier access to the rear of the caliper. And the reason why I did this is so I can get access to the brake caliper bracket bolts right here. Those are two 17 millimeters, one here and one there. So let's get to taking them out. That's one out. And the second one. Cool. Okay. That our brake caliper is free to move, we can go ahead and put it right here or somewhere. You're gonna get a zip tie and hang it to this control arm right here. Now I went ahead and I put a zip tie and hung this caliper to this upper control arm. The reason why I did this is because I don't have caliper hangers. I lost them and I forgot to buy new ones. So don't come at me in the comments. And now that we're here, we're gonna go ahead and remove these two screws. Now, these two screws might be very hard to take out because they're old and rusty and they're very stuck on there. So what we want to do is get a hammer. Now I'm reusing this rotor, so I'm gonna go ahead and use a dead blow hammer because if I use a steel hammer, it's gonna mess up the rotor. So let's go ahead and shock these screws right here by hammering on the rotor. Let's see if that did anything. There we go. And so to prevent something like this, we can go ahead and put some anti-seize when we're putting it back. Let's see if the other one's easier. Yep, there we go. We did shock it pretty well, and we didn't damage our rotor because we used the dead blow hammer. So now we're gonna go ahead and remove the rotor. And I went ahead and got my 36 millimeter with my impact. I'm gonna go ahead and take it out. And now that we're here, we're gonna go ahead and get our flathead and try to take this cotter pin out, or whatever you want to call it. Let's see, this one's pretty on there. Let's use our pliers. Yep, that works. And I went ahead and got a ratchet. Let's see how it's gonna come out. Hopefully it doesn't give me a hard time. Came out pretty easily, actually. That's cool. Go ahead and get our swivel. And now the second thing I want to do is go ahead and hammer on here so we can disconnect the upper control arm from the steering knuckle. And the next step is removing these 10 millimeters that are holding this speed sensor to the knuckle. Cool, there was only one. I think there's supposed to be two, but I guess we only have one. So going to remove the bolt from the speed sensor right here as well. See, oh, there we go. Cool. We're gonna go ahead and yank the speed sensor out. Come on. It's gonna be jammed a little bit. And about 5 minutes later, sadly, it broke in my hand while I was trying to remove it. So can't do anything about it. That's how it came out. It might break in your hand, it might not. It's necessary for you to remove it. I don't want to disconnect it from the top because I would have to mess with it over there, and I don't want to. So I'm gonna go ahead and get another speed sensor, but I hope that doesn't happen to you. And the second thing that we're gonna do is go ahead and remove this outer tie rod. And then, so it has cotter pin. I'm gonna go ahead and try to yank out. Same thing on the other side. There we go. I went ahead and got a cutter. And I'm gonna try to go ahead and hold it from the back. There we go. It just holds on it better than pliers. Just use the actual ball joint as a leverage. I have a brand new cotter pin that I'm gonna use instead of this one. So this is a 17 millimeter. Go ahead and take it out. And we're gonna go ahead and hammer here to pop the outer tie rod out of the nut. We popped our tie rod. The second thing that we want to do is remove this one right here, which holds the shock to the lower control arm. Yep, that's not coming out easy. So we're gonna need something in the back to hold it, which is a 17 millimeter and a ratchet. Ooh, that came out. And hammer it out. Ooh, so something that I like doing is putting a pair of pliers right here and pry as unbolting like this. It's almost coming out. So we can grab something like this from the other side and hammer it out. Cool, came right out. And now the next thing to do is take the steer knuckle out of the lower control arm. As you guys can see, we have a ball joint over here with a castle nut and a cotter pin. So we're gonna repeat the same process that we did with the with the outer tie rod. Okay. That's what I was doing from the back side while you guys couldn't see. So you guys will get to see this time. Go ahead and yank on it. Cool, came right out. I'm pretty sure this is also a 17 millimeter. Yep. That's a little bit. Now, the thing that I don't like is hammering the crap out of this, but I'm unfortunately have to do this. And what I did to keep the knuckle in place and went ahead and put the control arm with the nut few threads on, so it's easier to take the lower one off. And I'm gonna go ahead and hammer over here from, I think, both sides to make it easier to remove this ball joint. Yep, came right out. So the next thing that we're gonna do is just go ahead and take this out, and it should be free to come out. Go ahead and push the axle off. This tie rod is always in the way. Cool. Now the second thing that we want to do after you take it out is trying to hammer this stupid hub out of place. And now I didn't get a hub puller because I want to show you that you can do it without a hub puller by getting a 32 millimeter and centering it right here, or a 30 millimeter, doesn't matter, and then you're gonna smack it Now, this might hurt your feet a little bit, but you got to do what you got to do if you don't want to get a slide hammer. So let's see. Guess we do have to get a hub puller, don't we? Psych, we don't. Came right out, sir. Victory. And now that we took the hub out, this bearing goes out like this and goes in from here. So it goes out from the front and it goes back in from the front. And that's why there's a snap ring on the outside surface. So this snap ring might be seized up on there. So what we have to do is get some WD-40 like so and spray this just a little bit. And now we're gonna get a screwdriver and a hammer and try to hammer it this way and that way, just to break off the seize. Yep, that looks like it freed up a little bit. Cool. It's not even going back. Cool. Now that they're both free, we'll go ahead and get our snap ring pliers. This right here. Come on. What in the... Oh, you know what? I think it did come out of its place. Let's see. Wonderful. Look how easy that was. Now, normal situations, it wouldn't be that easy. I don't know what I did. I think I winged it. But usually you would have to hammer it just to lose up the seize and then use some snap ring pliers to take it out. Now, I'm not going to leave it this bad. We'll go ahead and clean it after I take out the bearing. So let me show you how to take out the bearing with our bearing press tool. This is our bearing press tool that I'm going to use. So what we're going to do is get our knuckle over here in the picture, and we're going to try to match the hub size. So what we're going to do is pull out the bearing out this way. So we're going to get a cup. That looks like a perfect size cup. So let's see, what size is this? 14. If you buy this Maddox, it's going to be 14. So next thing that we have to find is the size that will drag it from the back, which is right here. So one of the things that you got to pay attention to in the back, and good thing I did it, is that there is a protective cup right here that I need to yank out before I take out the bearing. Cool. Now I'm going to straighten this out when I put it back. It's actually not that hard. That's why I was a little bit careless removing it. I've done it many times. Now that we have our bearing exposed right here, I'm going to go ahead and find a matching race. Let's see. This is actually perfect. What is number 3? Does it take it out? It looks like it can. Maybe not. Let's see number 4. Number 4 looks like a perfect candidate, so we're going to go ahead and use this. And what we're going to do is get it from over here. The cup. It's a cup that we got. Put it right there. And then we're going to get a closer or a top right here. And then we're going to get the bolt. Get this back on. Like this. And then we're gonna get this back in here. Like that. And we're gonna get this. Now the side that has the threads closer to the end is the one that goes on here. And it doesn't hurt to put some grease over here or some anti-seize to make it easier. Some grease of the contact surface as well as the back side. This might be actually very well, not very, but a little bit of an annoying job because it's just a matter of trying to balance everything back in place. I'm gonna try to get this shit back in here. Get the race straight. That's exactly how it looks on the back, grabbing on the surface, almost even, and that's how it looks on the front. And I went ahead and got my 32 millimeter to torque on this bolt, or put some power on that bolt, and then I'm gonna go ahead and use our crescent wrench to hold on this side and yank it out. Make sure you have a full battery for this, or you might need to use a breaker bar and put it back on the control arms. Ooh, came right out. Now let's unbox our very Christmas gift in here. And here we have our old shitty bearing right there. I'm gonna go ahead and take it out. Cool. Looks like the race got stuck. There we go, now it's unstuck. That's how the bearing looks like. Now the back side of it is magnetic and the front side is non-magnetic. So this is not bi-directional. You will have to put it in the correct position. And here's our brand new bearing. Now, as I said, this is not bi-directional. It goes in one way and comes out in one way. So this back side, it's like a little bit purplish, goes to the inside where the speed sensor is, and this metal side, which is non-magnetic, faces the outside. And the way that you can tell which side is magnetic and which side is not, if they have the same face, what you can do is grab this cotter pin that I removed, or any small metal piece, put it right here, and it falls. So that means this is not magnetic. This goes on the outside. And this side, let's see. Oops, hold on. It's not supposed to do that. It's supposed to be magnetic. There we go. It is magnetic. Just don't yank it too much. It's not too magnetic, but it will hold. So this is the side that's gonna face the inside. And now that we got our new setup in, this is the brand new wheel bearing with the metal side facing the outside and the magnetic side facing the inside. This is the race right here that I put, so it matches the inside cup size without making contact with the inside of the wheel bearing space. Big bolt right here, and the same way with the nut. And I slightly use the bigger race to accommodate for the diameter of the new bearing. So we're gonna go ahead and send it the same way we did with the other one. So right here. And I'm gonna go ahead and hit it with our 32 millimeter to drive it in. Yep, it bottomed right out. Oops, I'm gonna have to take it out. Cool. Take this out, take the other one out. And here's our brand new bearing in with the exact required space for the snap ring, and that's how it looks on the back side. So the cup that was here looks like this, and it wasn't making contact with this. You want it to make contact with the outer circle right here, so it doesn't hurt the back side of it, like this, for example, right? And now we're gonna go ahead and put our hub. Gonna go ahead and put our snap ring back where it belongs. So this is our snap ring pliers that are not so practical, which I hate. It was just working off camera, actually. Let's see if I can just hammer it in, make my job way easier. Yeah, no, not gonna do it. Oh man, I hate snap rings because the snap ring pliers that I have are not the best. So cool. That worked. Pistol grip pliers. Alright, now that it's in, I'm gonna go ahead and put our brand new wheel hub. And there's a specific way to put in a wheel hub if you're not using a press, like a hydraulic press, not a wheel bearing, like the press that I just showed you. So this will go in like this. Now I would love to put some WD-40 just to make in the, what is that? Why does it feel a little bit rough over here? I don't like this. Maybe just the garbage that's on it. I'm just gonna put it like this. And so what we want to do is get, let's see, the stuff right here that I used to push it, like this, for example. So this will be just fine. And now that you flip it, what you want to use over here is a smaller race that will grab on the inner diameter of the wheel bearing. You don't ever want to put a race or a spacer that will grab on the whole thing, because if you do that, the hub will start pushing on the backside of the smaller race right here, the inner race, or the inner side of the bearing, and it will pop it out, and you will shorten the living crap out of the lifespan of it. So I'm gonna show you how to do it. So you want to get something this small that matches the diameter, well, maybe a little bit bigger, like this, maybe, and make sure that this doesn't face the inside because the hub needs to bottom out. So we are right here, and then we're gonna grab our nut right here. I don't know where the washer is, but it's okay. You can live without it for just one time. I'll find it. So now we're gonna screw it back in and make sure that we are centered in the middle, so the hub goes in easy without any worries. Cool. Now that we're exactly in the middle, like right here, I'm gonna go ahead and do the same exact thing that we did. We pulled it out and pushed it back in. Let's see. Hopefully I can do this on camera without an issue. Until it bottomed out. Now we're gonna make sure that it actually bottomed out. Take this out and look at it in the back, and it has made it to the furthest spot it's supposed to make at the back. And now we're ready to put this back in place. Now before you put it, make sure that it's free to move. It's supposed to have a little bit of resistance because it's a fairly, well, it's a brand new bearing, and it's a Timken bearing. It's a very good brand. Now we're gonna go ahead and put this back into the car. Before we put our steering knuckle back, gonna go ahead and put this cover back that I tried to bend back. I think it's okay. And then we're gonna have to match the window for the speed sensor. Get something like this to hammer it back, and then whack. Should be fine. Not gonna make any contact with the axle. That's what I care about. That's what I care about. I'm gonna go ahead and try to smack it on the side. Great. Be good to go. Those are actually common to just fall, actually. I've seen a couple of them fall and start making contact with the axle, but if it does, I'll just get a new one or yank it, doesn't matter. And before we put our knuckle, I'm gonna go ahead and put some anti-seize, well, that's a lot, right where the ball joint goes, because it will make the process of removing it in the future for the next person, or probably me, a lot easier. In here. I've put anti-seize in these places before, and man, it's a whole different life. Just like whenever you come back to work on the car, it's like stupid easier. We'll go ahead and put the same thing on the upper control arm. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and put our steering knuckle. Now, to make your life easier, what you can do is just center the axle in, put some anti-seize on the axle. And I got my hands full of anti-seize, which is okay. And now put the lower ball joint in. Now try to center the axle in at the same time. This is going to be a bit annoying. Now the ball joint's in and the axle's in. And I'm going to go ahead and put it in the upper ball joint. You're going to tighten it. Get our beloved wrench. Tighten on this. It's in the on position. I wanted to say on position, but it doesn't make sense. Then I got a brand new cotter pin for this nut. Let's see. Cool. And now we're gonna go ahead and put our tie rod back in place. Right here. We're gonna get our nut. The 17mm socket. Yep, this works just fine. Do it the same way they had it on before. Now, the next thing that we want to do is go ahead and put this bolt back where it belongs. Now, it might be a little bit tough, so try to put your weight on the knuckle to get it aligned. And with some power. Yep, that's going to happen. Cool. We're not going to tie in this one fully yet because there's a bushing right here and it might mess up and flex if we tighten it right now and put the weight on the car. Those stuff cannot be torqued up unless we put weight on the car first. But our bigger culprit right here, which was giving me a little bit hard time off camera, was tightening this. Now every time I want to tighten it, it keeps on spinning with me. See that? I don't like that. So I'm going to go ahead and find the fix for that. Have the jack with some weight on it. Well, it's actually a lot of weight. It's starting to lift up the car from here. So after we do this, we can go ahead and bolt up this on. But let's worry about this first. So now that we have pressure from here, I'm going to try to apply pressure from here as well. The axle, make sure that the axle nut is in. You see? Come on, don't disappoint me. There we go. See that? That was simple. Now our cotter pin location is right there. I just had to do it a couple times just to get it matched up to the correct port. I'm gonna go ahead and bend it this way. And now that we have weight over here, we're gonna go ahead and grab 17mm socket on a ratchet, put it right here on the nut with the other side, and we're gonna torque or bolt this on and snug it in. Cool. That's tight. This is tight, and the upper control arm is tight, and the tie rod is tight, so we can comfortably go ahead and lower the car's control arm with the steering knuckle. And now the last thing is going ahead and put in the rotor along with the brake caliper. And now we're going to go ahead and put our brake rotor back. And don't forget these screws that go in over here. Now, one thing I'm gonna do is go ahead and just give them a little bit of a cleanup and put some anti-seize on them. Try to do this without hurting myself. Cool. That thread looks pretty clean to me. And put some anti-seize on it. It's good enough. Go ahead and put it right here. We are very good to go. You can tighten these screws as much as you want and guarantee that they will come out next time and they will be not prone to rust and seizure and all of that. And the last thing that you want to do is go ahead and grab your brake caliper along with the bracket. Try to fit it back in place. Now, I don't think I have to push this thing back in because it's already matching the side or the size. Let's see. Yep, here we go. I don't really have to push the piston back because I didn't put any thicker surfaces. The upper bolt on. Follow it with the lower one. Now we went ahead and spun the wheels just a little bit so we can get some access for our big impact. Lower bolt. Good to go. Don't forget to put the 12mm bolt that goes on right here. Holds the brake line to the steering knuckle. And honestly, before you put this on, just make sure that you don't put that you don't twist the brake caliper before you put it in, and it looks like we did it because the line is very free to maneuver. Otherwise, it would be all crooked and twisted. And now I'll be normally putting in the speed sensor, but as you guys seen, it broke, so I'm gonna go ahead and get the customer a brand new one. But for the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and putting in the wheel now. Before you put in the wheel, don't forget to tighten your axle nut because I didn't include that yet. So now what you want to do is go ahead and hand tighten it all the way until the bottom's out. And you want to go ahead and get your 36mm. Looks like it's good enough. And then what we want to do after is get an extension or a little punch right here. And we want to punch this side just to make sure it doesn't come off in the future. There we go, that looks good enough. Now we're gonna go ahead and put the wheel.